Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning, Belize! Welcome to Open Your Eyes, Start Your Morning Right. I am Gavin Courtney and I am joining you this morning for our show. This morning it's a pretty wet Thursday morning, but in a few minutes, in a few seconds rather, we're gonna find out all about our weather so we can know what to expect. So hopefully it clears up a little bit, or we'll know if it's gonna be showering a little bit more. If you're like me, probably you want to stay in bed a little bit longer, but here we go. So we are gonna be speaking to Francisca Wellington. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, Francisca?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to this weather forecast. Definitely got a few showers on the way down here to work.
Correct.
So what are we looking for? What's our general situation today?
Okay, it's relatively moist and stable, and the reason why I'm explaining, so people like to know, there is a stationary front over the Bay of Campeche, and we have what we call a prefrontal trough ahead of it. So that's what's affecting us,
Okay.
bringing in moisture and creating the instability. So for today, we'll continue to see cloudy spells that will extend through tonight, and we'll see a few showers and isolated thunderstorms around the country, but especially over the south and over inland areas today and tonight.
Okay. And for our temperatures, what are the highs looking like for today?
Okay, along the coast, 82 Fahrenheit, not very high. Inland, 86, and the Maya Mountains, 75. And then overnight temperatures, 73 along the coast, 68 inland, and 64 up in the Maya Mountains.
And what about our winds?
Winds will be out of the northeast, 5 to 15 knots, and producing choppy seas, or light chop seas, sorry.
Okay, and what about the outlook for the next few days? Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
All right, I have good news for them.
All right, let's hear it.
Starting tomorrow, we'll be seeing a decrease in shower activity, so we are only seeing isolated showers or isolated thunderstorms. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we'll be seeing mainly fair weather.
Okay, are there any advisories or anything to look out for over the next few days or weeks?
Okay, not weather-wise, but the Sargassum situation is saying that satellite conditions showing that sargassum mats over the air remain very limited, and therefore we'll see no major impact on our beaches during the next coming days. So good news all around.
All right, that sounds great. Well,
Okay.
All right, Francisca, thanks for giving us that weather update.
You are welcome.
And I'll look forward to hearing from it again. So,
Okay,
all right.
thank you.
Goodbye, thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. So there you have it. So like Francisca said, there is some good news to look forward to. There's going to be a little bit more showers over today and maybe a little bit tomorrow, but generally speaking, the weekend is looking good. So if you want to go out, be with your family, it's going to be a good weekend to do that because the conditions are going to generally be all right. Moving right along, we are going to now do our daily eye opener, which is taken from dailyom.com, and it goes something like this. The universe is always offering us signs to help us. We just need to slow down and pay attention. The universe can often relay messages to us through signs. Often, we are too busy to stop and consider what may or may not be a sign. We may ask the universe for guidance, yet fail to recognize the sign it sends us in response. Learning the subtle language of signs can help you interpret the guidance the universe sends your way. We all have been blessed with a connection that allows the universe to communicate directly with us. To be able to understand the information relayed over that connection, however, it is necessary that we learn to pay attention and know what to look for. Not everything you hear or see will be a sign. If you are receptive and patient, however, the signs you receive will become easier to recognize. It is important to listen to your intuition. A sign can mean many things to different people, and only you can decipher a sign's meaning for you. As you practice reading signs and following their guidance, the universe will send more of them your way. And so that's a really powerful message. It definitely resonates with me. I can definitely relate to some times in life where, sometimes you're even asking for it. Give me a sign. What should I do next? How should I solve a problem that I'm looking for? When you may not even realize that the answers are right in front of you. And signs come in all shapes and forms, it could be something that somebody says to you. It could be something that somebody leaves somewhere. It could be something that you notice other people doing, and you don't realize that it's that you're a part of it, or that it might affect you somehow in the future, and that it may be an actual sign that could solve a problem that you're looking for. I definitely know that a lot of the times I gotta try and slow down and stop and notice my surroundings to really be aware of clues that the universe might be giving me. And on Tuesday, we had a similar eye-opener when we were talking about things that we had to stop and maybe realize that there are things that are beyond our control, and things that happen all around us and we may not even stop to realize. So a lot of those are actually signs, and it's definitely something that I look around and try to be observant about, so that I can navigate my life. And we'd love to hear feedback from you about this. So if you're on the Facebook page or you're following us on social media, of course we appreciate getting your views and your takes, and we definitely want to know how you feel. So if one of our messages from De Leon inspires you or helps you, or you think of a way that it could help other people, do feel free to share, because we're definitely interested in knowing your views. But that's our eye-opener. And now we're going to be discussing today's show, because it is going to be super cool. But before we jump into that, we do have one birthday shout out to give. And we are wishing a very, very, very happy birthday to Kaya Katus. And I know Kaya, so this is also a very, so it's a personal happy birthday to you too. We've known each other from high school days. So we're wishing you have a really great day, Kaya, and many more. So now we are going to move into the show today, because it's going to be super interesting. And for our first segment, we are going to be talking with Ambassador Atala Shabazz, and she is a speaker, an educator, a diplomat who's spoken all over the world. And for our first conversation this morning, we are going to be talking all about wellness and work. After that, we are going to be joined by representatives to speak about the Brothers Keepers program, which is launched to aid at-risk school children. And then finally, we are going to be speaking about the 10th annual Habinaha Wanaragua competition. I hope I said that correctly. But that is going to be a really, really super conversation. We're going to be talking with Major Gilroy Suezo, who is a member of the steering committee of the competition. And it's, like I said, it's the 10th year, and they're going to be talking to us all about the fun surprises that we're going to see this year. So today is going to be a really interesting show, and we hope you join us. But right now, we are going to be taking our first break, and when we come back, we are going to be joined by Ambassador Shabazz. So stay tuned and join in for that conversation.
over 100 years of service.
And welcome back to Open Your Eyes. Now, if you're joining us right now, our first conversation is going to be with Ambassador Atalas Shabazz. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Again, it's wonderful to see you both.
And Ambassador Shabazz is the founder of the Pilgrimage Foundation, and she is going to be speaking to us today about wellness and work. This is a super important topic. And as we were speaking, just before the break, you were saying that it was an area of huge interest you found in Belize. So, why did you decide that this was a topic that you wanted to tackle?
Because I live it, right? So we live it. It's not just a topic in Belize, it's who we are all over in the States, anywhere. It's just sometimes we are just in like a locomotive motion, tending to things, that all of which matters, but if you don't put them in certain priority or seasonal or respiratory order, something gives away. And in life, we also have shortcomings and losses and things, and we still think we're supposed to perform an optimum. And you have to reboot. And when you get to be my age, for instance, and I'm in my 60s, and I still have a lot of passions, a lot of interests, a lot of focuses, none of which I want to omit.
Yes.
So in order to be effective, how do I go about fulfilling those things?
Yeah.
As it relates to Belize, I've been bringing delegations in for the whole duration of 17 years.
Yeah.
Part of that has always been a life balance, because the people we bring are not people who are just typical tourists. They're people whom I know could use what Belize offers,
Yeah.
and that's a pace, that's an amour, that's a certain kind of grace, and an insight for people who travel, not to just go from the airport to a resort, but to engage. So we always do an interactive kind of coexistence. And so on the Belizean side is, I know all kinds of people in Belize, and they're not different from everyone else, but I don't want that. I'm a Caribbean person as well. And very often we're addressing the tourist needs without regard to the balance of all of the people that fit. So that's been exciting for me this time around. It's called wisdom, wellness, and work, because you had to figure it out first, right? And then how to know that you're entitled to that balance. And so we've chosen, as you saw on the schedule, locations in Belize that are familiar to others, but already incorporate a tourism citizen balance, right?
You know, you noted that as ambassador at large, you have made a point of having different delegations come to Belize. Last year, you were working with Black men, and you were taking them kind of on a cultural exposure to help with their growth. Using that experience, how did you see the shift moving into focusing on this particular topic?
Well, in the United States, it's a reference in specifics because of what's happening to that young demographic, right? And I wanted them to get out of the box mindset. So again, being an international child growing up, I realized what it is in a local sense, and I understand what it is in a global sense. And that most of them had never left a zip code. And if they travel, they'll get to find their counterparts in other parts of the world. So these are young boys between 14 and 18 whose lives have changed forever since their visit to Belize. They felt a brethrenship. We've come back 3 more times with different composites of young people, most of them from the same co-ed, where in the States, when I said we're going to be doing some gardening, they thought it was dirt, but once they got here, they did the 4th and the 5th, and they called it soil. You know, they understood that soil was the root for nurturing. So we incorporate a kind of social surrender in these experiences. So it's not just when you're an adult my age, but those kids also needed a balance of where they fit in the world and their aspirational selves. So it's been a success each time.
And moving to an environment like Belize, I mean, the 2 topics kind of fit because it's teaching them a slower pace compared to what they probably see back home.
And one that they can be a part of. So that's usually the thing. It's isolation, right? That usually makes people feel as if they're outside of the possibilities. And we incorporate the pace in which enables them to feel like they're citizens. And that's what they say all the time. It was so welcoming. They felt like everybody. People thought until they opened their mouth, people thought they were Belizean as well. And to be a natural welcomed person is sometimes not what people experience. And so over the years, this trip alone with Wisdom, Wellness, and Work, the response is definitely catapulting us into returning and doing a series next year. And we started with the Belize International Yoga Festival. That was good for my delegation. And then we had a number of guests who were facilitators there. Then we went to Colby, which is a regular, it's where I've been for 16 years. with the women and the youth.
What's that interaction like there at
Well,
Colby?
Programmatically, it's what's under my purview.
Yeah.
So we have developed things that have to do with life skills, and the things that you hear Colby talk about, but
Yeah.
really engaging and supporting an entity that does not have a real revenue. But we, you have a capacity of people. We're all an act away from possibly being there ourselves. And when we're there, my delegation doesn't know what people are in for.
Yeah.
So they get to just have the harmony of exchange,
Yeah.
and it's always inspiring. Otherwise, I don't think we'd be there this long. And I meet them on the streets, and I see them other places. And then after Colby, we were at the Black Orchid Resort, where we were residing, and it was a wonderful atmospheric campus for us to merge and have Belizean professionals come in, but it was too short. So we're going to do a Friday night orientation, bunk in, and then wake up the next Saturday and everyone have the fellowships of different breakouts.
Yeah.
And that'll be in the top of next year.
Yeah.
And then we were in Hopkins Bay, and their in-house guests participated on the pier, starting with the yoga and various things, utilizing a lot of your own citizens per their skills to be a part of it. Michelle Urban was, is she- all right, powerful.
Yeah.
Um, Pawa, and she was excellent, as well as a number of our facilitators. And then we were also at the Belize Boutique Resort and Spa. And they talk about that. And we created a package, we're creating a package, starting with Mr. Murillo, who's already experienced it, for Belizeans, Belizean professionals,
Yeah.
like a day pass, a 1-2 day pass, so
Nice.
that there's a respite that you can escape to,
Yeah.
and that it's not just tailored to the visitor.
You said earlier that you live and have to find the ideal balance. I'm sure this didn't come naturally. There probably was a point in time where you said, listen, I need to, as much as I can motivate others, because you're a well sought after motivational speaker, I need to take care of me first. And that's perhaps the hardest transition for most people. If it's parenting
Right.
and work,
That's right.
if it's community and work, shutting off that other outlet or pausing it for just a moment is really the hardest step.
And not feeling guilty. Not feeling guilty about it. I'm the eldest of 6. I have 5 younger sisters. So even though my sisters are in their 50s, I'm still their big sister.
Yep.
Right? And so the call is never, how are you? It's just, it goes right into what they need.
This is what's happening to me.
Yeah. And so I've always been a paced person by nature.
Yeah.
And so I think that works in my favor to not rush into something. And I'm also one that doesn't do your work for you. I just support you in the direction you want to go in. So it's empowering you to know your right to the peace of mind.
Yeah.
And the order, I can possibly see the order in which it dominoes and works for you.
Yeah.
If you're having challenges at work, you still need the job.
Yep.
So you can't fret about the job. So we're going to talk about other ways in order to treat your 9 to 5
Yeah.
so that it does not chain you.
Yeah.
It is actually working for you in one way or the other. And then identifying things. We had William Dawson with us, who was with the, he's the director of Wagner.
Yeah.
And from the tightness, because there are losses, there are challenges, and he breathes all of those things. But by day 4, 5, 6, 7, by having the powwow and the exchange, and one morning he did the yoga when we were down in Hopkins. The second day he was missing, but we only found out that he was on the WhatsApp or the FaceTime with his wife doing it with her.
Oh.
Right? So any of those things, and they're entitling themselves to that as a family.
Yeah.
And the 2 boys, his 2 sons, said, don't worry about it, we got it, Dad, we got Mom. So just permission, it takes one in a family.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's tough because somebody's gonna have a bottom lip that you're leaving going or treating yourself to something, but it's essential.
Do you think we have to reach kind of a pivotal moment? Did you have that?
I've had a few, but again, my nature was always paced. My nature was always, my rearing was always about what I have I get to share. But I think I go through it at different times when I'm running on empty, and the older I get, my stamina or my bounce back is not the same. And then I have to reevaluate. But my intention is always the same. Once I'm restored, I'm already ready to get back. I mean, we were fatigued at the end of 16 people leaving, and I'm already thinking about my dates that I'm returning. You know, so and that's why it's turned into 17 years, and I have to thank Belize for that as well, for entrusting me, inviting me, and allowing us to participate, and to be able to curate these experiences on Belizean soil. So the access, the circumstances, the opportunities that we may have in the States just may move a little faster, but you have them here. The oasis is here, right? So the oasis is not just supposed to be packaged for the outsider. The oasis has to be packaged for the possessors of the culture, right?
Absolutely.
And re-entitle yourselves to that.
Yeah.
You know, my grandmother didn't get to go back to Grenada. And when I go back and forth to Grenada, there's a little sadness that she didn't get to.
didn't have that.
No, she didn't get to do that. So the being able to bridge the biculture, the triculture, the international, the global identities that people have, no matter what your geographic location is, that there's a harmony that we share, because we're not going to avoid the trials and tribulations. That's going to be part of life.
Yeah.
The thing is that while that is here, how do we start to fill this up, identify this, so that when these hard knocks come, that we find a way to reach over to the other thing that we can exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I actually kind of wanted to ask you about that, because I would imagine, of course, in your work, you over the years you hear so many different stories and different perspectives from people. So I was wondering if there were sort of common struggles, experiences that you would have heard or that you used to build upon, especially to bring to the wisdom, wellness, and work.
I think fatigue, self-doubt, where you fit in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when you think administration by administration, season by season, generation by generation, but when you've lived long enough, you get to see that there really is an ebb and flow of the very same thing. So when elders used to say, "This soon shall pass," you're thinking when you're young,
Yeah.
you don't get what I'm talking about, but it actually does. And so my thing is how to curb the learning capacity, into one that works for you, and enabling people to get off the ledge, because I know a lot of people that have been on a ledge,
Yeah.
on the edge, and presuming this is where it stops. And so the challenge for me is I'm a very porous person, so I can feel your edge, and to help work through that edge means I'm also absorbing it.
Yeah.
So that's where I think my bigger challenge is how do I have a little Teflon, when it comes to that. But in order for me to convey from a real authentic place, I almost have to transmit where you are.
Yeah. You have to absorb some of
I
it.
have to be right there.
And do you
Yeah.
find that difficult? Like,
No.
does it weigh on you at
It-
any time?
Both. I don't find it difficult because it is a natural part of what I'm able to do and convey. And I wouldn't be there if I didn't think that I can convey the value.
Yeah.
The thing becomes what I do for myself to restore. You know, and you know, as I've said often, I'm by nature very reclusive, so I get to have that kind of inner solace. But that's where things like what Michelle Williams is teaching, and Jeremy Enriquez, and so many others, about this kind of power you have to run your life, your thoughts. You're walking with it every day. All of this is going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But how do you rebalance? How do you
Yeah.
recalibrate your place? And then we give other information and experiences. And being able to choose Belizean locales owned by families is very exciting. We always do urban, suburban, and rural. And suburban for us has become Black Orchid
Yeah.
Resort, because 14 years ago, I was able to take the kids from the YWCA there. And the Mr. and Mrs. Thompson were open door, open house.
Yeah.
So I included it as my locations for programming even before I stayed there. And so we're going to do this. I think most Belizeans know Black Orchid.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Right? And
Yeah.
so it's a great campus for a 36-hour
Yeah.
session.
You have the river, you feel like you're in a jungle setting, and
there
it's not
are-
too far
No,
off.
no, it's not too
Yeah.
far. It's nearby, and to really curate the grounds in a way that maximizes all topographies of Belize.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned earlier that while in Belize we may have a different pace, because when we talk about the United States, for example, we always use the rat race as the example. And there's kind of a mindlessness that we can fall into, where you just, you know, come day, go day, never really focus, and you're busy but not productive.
Yeah.
How do you reach that moment of transformation in just a couple days? And not only reach the point of transformation, but be able to go back into your respective environments.
That's
When you
the
get back
challenge.
on that hamster wheel,
Yeah.
you know, all the refocus and energy you've filled
dissipate.
yourself with can be gone
Can
within
dissipate.
minutes. Yeah.
Well, that is one of the things that even when I'm bringing in delegations, they don't just come in and play and party.
Yeah.
We actually, I do have one-on-ones with each of them as well. It's kind of life coaching, executive coaching, advisory with each one. Because it's an invitational. I don't just hit e-blasts and say, come with me to Belize.
Yeah.
It's really intentional who
Although
comes.
these days that would be easy to get a crowd, right?
Yeah, but I can refer them, right? I can refer them. This is really intentional.
Yeah.
People that I know would benefit from the atmosphere here. And then within them, part of the human service component of our intention is how they use their own expertise and share that with others. So it is very difficult. I'm in touch with them. I send notes to them. I think that's why we realized what was born out of both our experience at Black Orchid and Hopkins is, how do we do this again?
Yeah.
And this wasn't enough time.
Yeah.
And since I know I'm a mainstay in Belize, then we will do series. We'll continue doing series. I said to Mr. Murillo in their theater there, we will also do some kind of series in your theater atmosphere for your, we work with the those who are residents there, but now let's do something with your professional staff, the 200 people that work at Colby, so that they can also have the balance, because they have a high stress life. So if my life in the next year, 2020 is my father's 95th birthday, and I've decided to dedicate it in a way that I did in his 85th year, which was a commitment in the spirit of humanity by any means necessary. And that's all of the people I know that do the same kind of work different ways. So when you say, how do you maintain it? I don't have to do all of it, but I can moderate it.
Yeah.
I know who's good at it.
Yeah.
And we've already had people from the last week that are in touch with some of the facilitators to sustain certain aspects.
Now, tell us a bit about the group that came for this first workshop.
Cross-section of professional advisors, and one thinks an advisor can is 24/7, but even those individuals need to restore, because by the time you reach your peak, you've gone through a lot of no's. And we've had one who was a prominent partner of Les Brown, who's but she, in the month of August, September, within a week's time, lost both her eldest sister and then her mother. So while she's in the world inspiring others,
Yeah.
I knew she needed to be in a place before the Christmas break and pause.
Yeah.
But once she was signed on, I said, would you love to share? And she did. And she's great at it.
Yeah.
You had another young lady who was just in her 30s and from Detroit, Michigan, who has strategic partners. And that's where the corporate and the nonprofit find ways to work together so that you're not having to always stand in line for a grant.
Yeah.
Like where the twain meet. Quentin Vinny, who was a keynote, he's the young brother from Baltimore who, amidst a hard knock life up to 12 and then 25 and then 30, made different changes, and really is the example of perpetual maintenance, because, you know, it's not gone.
Yeah.
The challenges are not gone, but he was amazing with the youngsters at Wagner and every place.
So it seems that just amongst the group itself, there were some support systems there, just with the strengths that they all brought.
That's what the intention is. So whenever I bring people, I know who needs, they're always amazing. People
Yeah.
are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I'm very much aware when I'm speaking to someone that they're going through something where they don't realize how fabulous they are. And I know when I get them away from the things that distract them, that we can get into a place in the oasis experience that I have in Belize, right?
Yeah.
Gets to be something I get to share, and they recalibrate. They always leave coming back. We have a lot of repeat offenders. Yeah.
You know, you talk about people not knowing their strengths. Isn't that a common theme
Yeah.
across the board? It's kind of
Across the
like
globe.
everyone has a part of imposter syndrome to a certain extent.
Or just trying to live up to, and you want to say, what does that measure? What do you measure? What's the illusion of that measure?
Yeah.
I had a father who did not put that on me. In being born first, he was my first friend.
Yeah.
And he was so unconditional. That's where the definition of unconditional, he was my first buddy and friend. And so that anything you did wrong was never wrong. It was something, an opportunity to learn from. My mother was a perfectionist, like most mothers. So if I came home with a 98
And she's an
on my
educator.
test, yes, she was an educator, right? No,
Yeah.
and believe me, an educator. You know, so if you're looking for, I came home with a 98 one time, and she wanted to know, with all these encyclopedias and all this opportunity to study, what answer did you get wrong to lose that? Where my father celebrated the 98, and then we later got to talk about what was missing, and then he also was one of those that would say, "Oh, I think I made that mistake once."
Oh, you had the balance just at home.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, being born first gave me the
Yeah.
benefit of that because my sisters didn't always get. Some of them didn't get to meet my dad.
Yeah.
I have twin sisters who my mother was pregnant with. But yes, I did have that, and my father comes from that open door process of innovative discovery, and my mother's was academic.
Yeah. And when you talk about living up to a standard, and not necessarily society standards, we set standards
Yes,
for ourselves,
right.
and I maintain that we are often our worst critics.
Right.
You know, your father has such a legacy, and as his daughter, when you go about and you are giving, whether it's a speech, writing a book, or just being present, does it ever reach a point where it becomes a bit of a burden, like I won't be able to maintain what the expectations
Oh, no.
are?
I don't do expectation from the outside. No, because I think in knowing him, not presuming him,
Yeah.
right? And having known him, he was a very gentle, easy, accessible person. So it was part of my first metronome of confidence
Yeah.
came from a person who did not have assessment or judgment. Maybe in his head, but the way he guided as a parent, it was you're already all right from birth. Yeah. So the rest is learning.
Yeah.
You're supposed to skin your knee in order to know how to stand up straight next time, right? Simple as that. Awkwardness happens. You address it right as soon as it happens. Something happens, if you get it off, but if it haunts you,
Yeah.
that's what debilitates you. It's you who debilitates you sometimes, And so I'm not saying it's easy. It is something that you have to be aware of, and when you're in a relationship with someone, is it something I said, and take ownership.
Yeah.
So I'm really quick at that, and I think because my father was always such a truth teller of each phase or stage,
Yeah.
I did not ever have the example of having to tuck anything away. Privacy-wise, yes, but not shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
No shame.
And did you find that like that inner sense of, let's say, balance, confidence also, did it make you in a way want to share that where you saw perhaps other people going through difficulties or whatever?
I think there was a natural component to that. Again, I was a very attentive big sister, and when you're first, you're kind of mommy's big girl and daddy's friend. So I got to see, and we were surrounded by the acquired aunts and uncles were all persons who were social servants, and you have to remember, my father lived only till 39, which means I was surrounded by a lot of young people, like today's millennials, who were committed people.
Yeah.
So
socially active. that's
socially committed at a time when there was no guarantee.
Yeah.
This generation has, beats the drum on their rights because they ought to have them.
Yeah.
Then, you didn't know it was coming, but faith enabled you to believe that you had to stand for something. So growing up around Ali, who was 25, 26, we're talking about 22, 23, 25, young kid, he was a kid.
Yeah.
These were young people who were passionate. So I think that having been surrounded and having such a continuum of people with purpose who stood for something, who died for that something, where our families are still one another's cousins,
Yeah.
so to speak. We're all kind of like sandbox, bathwater babies together. That's what we refer. And now 50s, 60s, we are each other's children's aunts and uncles. And we know the price that was paid. And we're pretty much dedicated to assuring that the next generation knows their rights to be that, have that.
And do you think that, I really like what you said earlier, talking about the younger generation feeling sort of that the rights ought to be guaranteed or that they deserve. So do you think that perhaps that feeling in young people is probably is because of the work that was done earlier, that because we've come so far, that people automatically think that it should be a given?
Well, that they think that it should be a given, and we somewhere in there, when we had all of those things, somewhere in the late 70s, we stopped hammering it. So there are two generations in there that feel entitled, and when it's taken, they feel robbed.
Yeah.
And some are aware that we dropped the ball somewhere. So that I also take not direct responsibility, but I know what happened. I knew that people don't realize that the civil rights movement, the struggle with all aches, pains, highs, and triumphs, started, if you start with Rosa Parks or Emmett Till, that's 1955. If you conclude at the Vietnam War, that's 1972. That's almost 20 years. That parents were concerned about their children out there, that people were struggling. So by the time we got a little break, people took a break. I know my mother did not want me to fill my sisters in on all the gloom. No, it was too painful. It was all you could do to have the break. Right? No one would have imagined that there would have been another 50 years of trying to sustain what was happening then.
And I'm so glad you said that, because that's one of the questions I really wanted to get your reflection on. When you look at society today and considering the very unique upbringing that you had, I never thought of it until you mentioned it, being around at such a young age, such socially active, socially aware and conscious people, and having
names we know now.
Yes,
right.
And what would have then been for you kind of just status quo. That's how people are. That's what we should do. And we, the entire world, we kind of just fell into this quiet period, and now we're just seeing sparks. And a lot of people are working to out these sparks very quickly. What is your reflection on where we are today? We're moving into a next decade, and there are a lot of challenges we have to overcome as a globe. Even in Belize, there are a lot of challenges we have to overcome here. What do you think in terms of helping to ignite the spark within people again? And for those who've already started, in keeping it growing into that wildfire?
I think the trauma, the political traumas, the outing of all kinds of things that are happening in the last couple of years are essential. I think they're happening at a time that you have to have 4 generations at one time. You have the great-grandparent, the grandparent, the parent, and the child. You have the 10-year-old and the 85-year-old who can see it at the same time. I said with a friend of mine that my generation, the young boomers, the last of us were the ones that touched the civil rights movement. If you could be 55, that's an adult, you're 56, 57, you're not part of that cognizance. You can be today's grandparent and not have been part of that. So when our line is gone, it'll be mythical. So I think right now that all of this is happening, and make sure that we are all at the same dinner table, discussing the issue, seeing it. It's not for naught. There are people that have certain feelings, and it's truth. I don't have a problem with truth. The thing is, what do we do with it? How do we prepare one another? You have to see things as they are, and not even with a judgment. You just realize that's not my consideration, that's not my vote. It's information. It's how we prepare ourselves for the next thing. So all too often, we're working with an anti. When the anti rears its head, don't give it so much energy. What are the things that do fit? And where do I direct that focus and that energy? Because this will zap you, right?
But many argue that what we're lacking are dynamic leaders, like your father and like the people you grew up around, to kind of be not just honest, but that brave, honest person, because that's where it gets difficult.
So you have some young ones. You have Colin Powell. I mean, not Colin Powell. Colin Kaepernick. Colin Powell, notwithstanding. But Colin Kaepernick, who is getting pushback.
Yeah.
So the thing becomes, for all the people that can speak on his behalf in private, where are they publicly so that a 32-year-old
Yeah.
is not stranded?
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. But the same thing in my childhood, I watched happen with Muhammad Ali. He was 25 or so, enlisted to Vietnam, and some people did not want to touch it. So that 4 years dragged out. But principle and commitment is risky for some people. And so when you start to see that, you have to get out of their way, because that's dangerous if you're part of the commitment crowd, right? Because you don't need anyone to interfere with that. I would love to see people support young people so they exist. It's just that when they stand up at a time like this, amidst whatever the backdrop is,
Yeah.
it makes other people feel uneasy. I'm not saying people have to live uneasy. I don't think that's the price everybody has to pay.
Yeah.
But we have to figure out how the one who dares to stand up and represent, without, he didn't try to hurt anybody. He was just making a point of something that was very real and timely. It had nothing to do with the flag. It had nothing to do with patriotism. It had something to do with the inequities
Yeah.
of life and death that seemed to surround the young men that looked like him. A fact, right? And he's still there, and he also has a camp.
Yes,
He
it
and
is.
his team of amazing, powerful, also young people, for the most part, all under 40. And they go from city to city, and they round up anywhere between 350 and 450 kids, teenagers, and they do the Know Your Rights camp, of which I've been a part of. It is
Know Your Rights,
absolutely
nice.
powerful. Basic rights, there are 10 points.
Yeah.
And know my right to be healthy and to be educated, just basic rights
Yeah.
that young people who are under 18 are hoping you stand for
Yeah.
on their behalf, because they can't. But at the end of the day, it is such a food for thought stir that my statement to them is that you need to know your rights university, and parents need to be prepared, because when those kids go home, there's a snapback. So when you talk about what happens when you've gotten all that fuel,
Yeah.
and so we've talked to him about Belize as well, you know, but as we know when we see on television and recorded, he's trying to figure out his young life where he deserves to be,
Absolutely. Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
So where's the response to that? And I don't mean outcry negative towards the adversary,
Yeah.
but where's the strength of positive support?
Yeah.
So the adversary likes to enlist
Yeah.
the fuel. The thing becomes, how do you see the side that advocates for the positive? Different muscle.
Yeah.
I want to also ask, I guess kind of just piggybacking off of Marlene's question, what are the features, I guess, of today's society and today's young people that are not only different, perhaps from your generation and when you were growing up, but not only different, but also positive, and that make you optimistic about the future, you know?
I remain optimistic. I live around inspired people. The thing becomes enabling them to not feel alone with that
Yeah.
inspiration, right? So these gatherings that I do is so that people can find their kind of sibling circle
Yeah.
of like-minded people, and because it's not always going to be the crowd, and one thing you're going to have to be okay with is a little bit of isolation. I mean, like I said, I always had people around, but in my thought process, I could be singular at any
Yeah.
given time. So I am definitely optimistic, inspired, and in many settings on a regular basis where people know the best is forthcoming, and they moreover want to find out how they can be a part of assuring it.
Yeah.
And what are the, what sort of tools that, you know, people can use? I think, for example, one of the benefits that we have today is technology, and we can spread information quickly and get perspectives out there. So have you also sort of...
Well, I'm laughing because I'm one of the antiquated ones. We'll send you a note and put a stamp on it.
Yeah.
And I am also part of the network. While I understand the significance of technology, I'm still in the powwow, where we all kind of break bread and sing a song.
But he's building connections.
No, and so what happens
Yeah.
after that is what happens in that kind of incubated space of innovation and passion that you then send out.
Yeah.
That becomes very important because the technological aspect or the social media aspect is very powerful, as we can see.
Yes.
Right, for those who can't reach you in that space.
Yeah.
But I laugh because just in this time, people keep saying, "What's your WhatsApp number?" And I said, "What's what?"
No.
Yeah, I don't have one. So, I mean, I've heard of it before, but no, I know it's important. Somewhere in there.
I'm sure you have your means of communication.
I absolutely
Yeah.
have but part of it has been when I lost my mother. When my mother was in the accident, we had so many phone calls that came in, like 40 at one time. And if I had gotten that, started unloading my machine before someone reached me in the airport, that's how I found out my mother was in an accident. I would have been thrown off by the calls. It would have panicked me differently. So one weekend turned into a month, turned into a year, and I started to find, and then Belize entered my life, right? And in Belize, when I came in 2002, did not have all of this newfangled whatever. So I would be in the field, so to speak, away, and there was a solace
Yeah.
that came. And so when you talk about how you preserve yourself, I choose the solace because as soon as I touch down, I'm going to be very busy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And what I'm hearing from you is kind of practical lessons that you've executed
Right.
in maintaining with the topic we first started off
That's
of,
right.
your latest
Yeah.
Delegation that you brought.
Wisdom, wellness, and work.
Wisdom, wellness, and work.
Yeah.
The wellness aspect we didn't incorporate so much into the conversation. I know you had yoga sessions and mindfulness sessions.
As well as at the spa in Moscow.
Yeah.
And not just because of its atmosphere, but when the people got there, it's uninterrupted.
Yeah.
Right? And it's still amidst nature. It's submerged in nature. And we also had Mr. Mario, who's the very first Belizean professional beneficiary of the package, to just turn off the phone for a minute and treat yourself to something that you're entitled to before you go out there and battle the rest of the world. So wellness was definitely present. And Mr. Thompson did river tours where he was able to take people and experience silence.
Yeah. And you said the work part of the title is because it takes work to be able to get towards
Because we have
this.
work to do. We live amidst work. We think work is first. We say family. We think we know how to intellectualize the order of priorities.
Or we
but
say what's socially acceptable.
But we do work first.
Yeah.
We do work first, and we hope our family is intact. And we have to figure out the balance of that because work does end at 5 o'clock, or figuratively. Work is on the other side, but we take work with us. What part of you is left in the parking lot, and what part do you pick up when you go back home? When you put the key in your own door, are you taking work with you, or are you present with your family?
You know, just to tag on there, when we think of society today, and if we want to be inclusive, there's some people who work almost all day. And not because they're so tied to it, or they build their identity around it, or they like it, but sometimes it's because it's a means of survival. They have children to feed, they have responsibilities to maintain, and so they would hear the idea of finding balance or saying no to something.
A challenge.
Yeah.
No, and we all do.
Almost far-fetched, like impossible.
But we all do. Whether you have a job where you think you have no out, or whether you're an executive. I mean, a lot of people feel as if I lose this job, I have no life. That's the problem. You have to shift it and be willing to say there are other aspects of my life that have significance and balance. And that's when I said to you earlier, you can't always leave that job. So we work with you on ways to balance who you are in the context to that job, so it doesn't take over. It doesn't become your 100%, right? It becomes a viable part for you to determine your 100%. And if that's family or self or aspiration or dream, but you have to do well, so that it works for you.
So you said that the workshop was too short to really get as much information
That's what
as
we were
possible.
told. No,
And we are trying to get so much out of you in this even shorter time. But I will ask you just this one question. If you were to tell people, based on your own life experience and even from the recent retreat, what's one tool to perhaps, because we spoke of it before, one, it's giving yourself permission and relinquishing the guilt that comes
Yeah.
with it. But beyond that, what's one tool that can move you in the right direction that maybe you're not going to have equally balanced scales, but you're going to undo some of the burden from one side?
So in the marrow of our existence, there was always a wish when you were a little person that is still there, right? So sometimes you have to get quiet enough to recover or discover what that is. And it's hard when you have so many layers of life and responsibilities and distractions, period. So without violating people's confidences, confidentialities, I don't do that. I would be speaking to you alone to hear it so that you can trust me to surrender what that is. So that nobody around you that says, bad idea, not a good one. Those are the things that interfere, and then speak to you separately. And then ignite what's already there. So I'm able to assist you in finding that. And from the big side, it really is just to know that we all really do have an intention and a purpose. Sounds grand, but how do you rediscover what that is, or rediscover what that is? And I know for me, at this rewirement stage, not retirement, I'm jotting down a lot of things on paper and crossing things out. So the discovery is not found and stayed. It's pliable, it moves, and it's okay to discover or travel with what that variable is.
Yeah.
You know, just got to open your eyes, so to speak.
And we love when people do that.
Well, and claim it, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we have to know that.
Yeah, well, we close with open our eyes and mind and
And
hearts.
then, as my father would always say, may we meet again in the light of understanding by any means necessary.
All right. And what a beautiful way to close off this conversation. We know you've had a packed schedule in Belize. We appreciate you taking the time to stop in, not just chat with us, but all Belizeans who are watching. And we look forward to your return.
My pleasure. We're looking forward to it, and we hope to have more and more people.
Yeah.
There's no one answer,
Yeah.
but just discovering what that process is.
And we can look forward to the next retreat as
Yes.
well, which should be held next year.
Yeah,
And
early.
And so people can perhaps look into participating there
That's
as
right.
well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you both.
We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the launch of a brand new program. It's called My Brother's Keeper. That's coming up after the break. And we're back, and we're moving into our second conversation for today. We're talking about the launch of the program, My Brother's Keeper. And this is a collaboration between two organizations, and we have two representatives here. One I'm sure you will recognize immediately. We have Edmund Steen, who is the co-founder of Inspirational Promotions, and Lauren Burgess, who is the director of Port Loyola Organization for Women, PLOW. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Welcome.
And you know, it's so great to have you here. Edmund, you've been here a few times. We like having you, but we're really happy to have Lauren too. And here to talk about the work that you do with your organizations and what you want to do together. Let me start off with you, Lauren, and talk about PLOW and what you have been doing there.
To be honest, we have been doing quite a number of things with the little bit of resources that we have. We started in 2011, and we enhance, enlighten, encourage, and empower women to be better women. And we try to equip them mentally, physically, every alley, right? So we are located, first we was at Farbers Road, but now we got a building of our own, so we're at 16 Crawl Road. The building, you can't miss it, pink and purple.
Oh.
Pink for the softness of being a woman.
Okay.
You know, being a woman, you're soft, you're just, you know, just mellow. And then we have purple, which is for the deity of God, and the, you know, so that's what we have.
So look for the pink and purple building.
The big pink and purple building, you can't last it. And when we have the pantry program, we sell pantry, an amount of pantry every week. And we have different programs. We have like one program where we call Saving Our Daughters. Every year we invite girls from the third form classes from the schools on the south side. And we do a program with them to make them be better girls. We deal with the whole thing. Physical, mental, sexual, everything we do. We teach them how to be women, how to walk, how to talk, posture, all the type of thing, the proper manners, because to the pick, they don't got manners, you know. Then pastor right now say anything, then okay, they cuss you out right now, then anything that never used to happen, you know, can you get one big slap in your face. No, they don't really care what they say, they don't care what they do. We teach them how to dress cut to the day, so they short thing. So plus size is something was simply not correct. Simply wrong. You know? So we do that, we give them self-esteem, we provide lunch and snack for them, we just give them one all around. We give them one all around. And the part where we do it, I like where we do, the, after we do with devotion or whatever, we start off with devotion. We have somebody we sit on the media or somebody we know about, they come and talk, because people feel like when they see you, Marlene, they would have think you never gone through nothing. But all the way, we go through something in our life sometime. But they see you as one idol, as one model where everything beautiful. No, that's not go so. You had to go through something to be where you are.
I'm somebody who live it, know it, right?
Exactly.
I also wanted to ask, well, Ms. Lauren, what you know inspired you or drove you to get involved in that type of?
I just feel like I feel the reason why I'm here on earth is to deal with women. Try to make one better life. Make them know that they're important. We are important. We don't have to sit down and take anything. Because we sit down and we take anything and everything, and to be honest, we look to a man. You can't look to man for your everyday living. You have to look to yourself, if you make yourself. We know how a lot of women, we don't have no self-esteem. We feel like we're ugly, we feel like we're this. You have to build your own self. You have to know that you're valuable. You listen to me. I got 400 pounds or whatever, and I'm eating either the best thing since the invention of sliced cheese. I know that I lose some weight when I walk, so I definitely know for a fact that everybody watching me and say, there goes Miss Lauren. I feel like I have it going together.
Yes.
And this is how I feel when I smile. You have to know that you are beautiful, you are something, you are somebody.
That you have worth, and especially
and the
as
children
women,
don't know that, and that's the reason why we got so much teenage pregnancy. We have so much man they beat up woman. No, so woman beat man too, you know. It's very few. But some woman beat up man. But I'm gonna tell you this: we as women need to see that we are worthwhile, and we need to teach we girl child that. That's why you see so much teenage pregnancy. Then 13 years I'm pregnant.
And it was a teenage pregnancy that bugged you, right? Because you were living away and you came back. And when you came back, you saw that girls just in the community were having babies at a young age and perhaps not having the kind of self-love that you knew they should have.
And they don't have it, they don't have it. So when I go, the first thing I tell you, every morning when we did it, we say, I am beautiful, you know, and stuff like that. I put their wrong set yard and got them to wave their hand like they're not queen. I don't know how to do it, but I teach them how to wave. I say them do it, how to wave your hand, how to sit, close your legs and put your hand on your laps and things. They don't teach them things at school again.
Yeah.
Sure.
Everybody sit down and foot tearing open. Where that far?
So what's it been like since you started the organization? I mean, it started just working with women and girls, and where you are now.
We do one good ways, you know. We have
You have building, that's a...
We have one building, where number one.
Yeah.
Number two, we try to set up one sewing factory like.
Okay.
We don't have industrial machine and stuff. So we just wait to get ready for start off in January.
Okay.
And then we also have a catering program. We do a whole lot of stuff. You know, with the little bit where we have like old people say, cut and contrive it. If you make it work out, you stretch it, you know. So we do quite, because if you deal with a woman, you have to deal with the children.
That's right.
You have to deal with the children.
And a lot of organizations may overlook that part. But I want to go from Plow to looking at inspirational promotions. And I know that this started off as a trim drive, now into a full-fledged NGO.
Well, we haven't get the full status as yet.
Yeah.
But we're working with Plow right now to try to see how we can assist them. Right now, this year, we're working on a Christmas party for the kids. The target is for 500 kids this year.
Well, we said 500 children.
More, right?
We have given out 500 tickets. We don't have, like last year we did like 550 children. There is no way I could do a Christmas party for 100 children back at Southside.
Sure.
That is impossible. So this year we prepare for 600 children, although we say that a 500 we do. We know that impossible. So between we and Inspirational, we work together. And it is such a blessing to have them with, because usually we, the Plow, we get everything. This year we do it at St. John's Vianney School. Last year when we do it on the street, but then the thing reached now where City Council charged me $150 for block off the street. You know, so I had to pay the City Council $150 last year, and they refused to give me one lead discount. I tell them, man, but this have to pick me back yonder. Well, anyway, there's more than one way to skin a cat, so we go somewhere party free. And we have to thank Mr. Sutherland.
Yes, for sure, Mr. Sutherland is
school,
he's very, I mean, he came out of the compound, because me and Brian went there to do like a reconnaissance, see how we can set up the grounds, you know, and he came out and walked in there. He's my ex-teacher, right? He used to teach me in St. John Vianney, so I went to that school. And they were so inviting, you know, give us a classroom to serve.
We have everything. We have bathroom, everything. And there are people that work with us every year. Boeing. Sure, give every child one bottle of juice. And last year we had they give us 600 juice for the children, plus water. Then you have places like different places where give we stuff like Batty Bus in it, I know that in here again, that way in here, whatever Premier Charters give you the ham. You know, you have Mr. Rivero, you have Rosados, a lot of different places, 2 can. 1 can, 2 can. They give you juice too. We have Mr. Omar for Orange Wax, but give me stuff. We have a lot of people where really.
So you really get the business community to help you out.
For the most part.
We can't do it by ourselves. And some of them would have just give like Wilmark Pharmacy. Every year they give $50. Then commit to give that $50 Wilmark Pharmacy.
And you know what I find interesting, and I know you've seen it with Inspirational Promotions, that even people from the community.
That's the biggest part of it. You know, the reason why we even reach out to Plow in the first place is that, I mean, we share the same vision. You know, the thing is, for me, I always believe that, you know, if we want to be strong in the community, we have to make sure the women are strong. Because the women bring the children and women always bring the men. You know what I mean? So to start off with that foundation is very, very important, you know. And for me personally, it's just to increase what we've been doing and try to have, like we mentioned earlier, from the first time we did the children's drive, we want to make sure we have a contact point with these kids throughout the year. And I used to be one of the kids that used to give the most trouble in school, like the entire school, not even just my class, right? And I didn't have a mentor at that time. And what spurred me to do this is because I was invited just recently, I think it was last year, to a program that Bemapan Active Youth was having. And I was invited as a guest speaker to talk about some of my experiences and some of the things that we want to do and the ambition that we have and so on. And honestly, I was dragged in by this program. I was like, man, this is so amazing. I wish I had this when I was in primary school.
Yeah.
They were actually assigning to the children a mentor that's similar to the characteristic that they're like. If you play football, they're gonna find you somebody that plays football. If you're into media, you can find. So I mean, I'm piggybacking on what they're doing and what Obama was pushing out in the US to see how we can get that done here. And the sustainability aspect of it would be when the schools can adapt it and actually see how we can move it forward through the ministries and so on. So it's like an initiation. So the Christmas party is actually an initiative that we want to have a Christmas party, they want to have one, so we merge together.
And
the two are with
Why compete?
The two are with the pass outside, so we just come and do it together. And I really appreciate having him with us.
Yeah.
Because usually we, the lone women, man don't need a Lehman power for enhance.
I use back the box of toys.
I mean, and the people has been so good to us, and I just want to thank everybody who help with every year. They are just people who support with and throughout the year. There are people who support with throughout the year, because we have like one tea party for like 200 women in a May. We have with tea party, we get in, and we have cup and salsa. We not we not the worry.
You wear fancy hat too?
If they want to have, all of that we do. And then we have different things we will do, like we had the standard 5 that's St. John's Vianney, like one of my parents, me feel like they never really prepared for standard 6. So we did one whole month workshop for the children. So we're going in at standard 6. All the standard 5 children at St. John's Vianney get the opportunity for 1 month. We give them breakfast, they get their snack, and they get their lunch. You have to do everything with leaf food, because that's the main thing. If your belly empty and the growl, you can't think.
That's for sure.
So you have to put in the food.
So the Christmas party is going to be when?
Saturday the 21st.
Okay, the 21st. And you're catering for 600 children.
Yeah, so it's the first time Brad and I are going to muster so much kids. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to.
But we have a whole lot of volunteers.
Yes, for sure. Definitely have.
This year we know usually when we have it, we have the parents going, but we know they have no parents going this year. Because to be honest, I don't want nobody feel no bad, but the parents say, "Go, what's rather than the picnic?" They're afraid them pick, want to get gift, want to get food. I say, man, enough thing there. Everybody want to get. But you know that feeling that protective feeling that my child, I want, so this year no parents going. We have volunteers. Nice. We have CIB officers.
Oh, then they're volunteers or then they're protectors?
Volunteer.
Okay.
And Mr. Dawson, the police Dawson, he is sending people, and we have other people where they come volunteer. Port Authority for 4.5 miles, they come Mishan get together, and she decide that they want to help with. One group, the customs want conto. So we have people where once they hear they want support with, and they come and support with.
You know what I love from what I'm hearing? It's and this is, I've told you this many times, when the community comes out to support their own, because a lot of times you get used to outsiders, you may be people from outside of the country, then from outside of your community, but when the community comes out, then you know that you're really building something important.
Marlene, the thing is that we have everything in Belize. We know that's also numbskull here. You don't have to get masters and doctorate for know something. Experience, the experience we got through in a life teach you. And you realize, okay, this or whatever. So if I try A and A no work, then try B. If you feel like you can't handle it, you have people you could talk to. There are so many people in Belize who are willing for help, but we get scared, and we women, we are scared. Somehow we're very scared. We don't have no self-esteem. We're afraid we can't talk, because the fact is, some men just beat we down. You have to be strong and raise up yourself and say, I could do this. I don't need no man. Because one man that will enhance your life. They're not to make your life worse.
You can't really listen.
No. I mean, if you take one man and your life be good, your life must be extremely better. You're not to go down.
For sure.
If you have one partner, your life will get better. But I have seen my partner take partner, and their life get worse. And the thing is that the sexual abuse on the rise, the physical abuse on the rise, the mental abuse. I tell you. Some things that plow. I finally had to take one of the room we have and make one chapel. Because some of the things there we can't handle, the only God could handle it.
Yeah, really.
So what do you tell the women when they come in to make them start to see themselves differently? Because
Well,
after years of abuse, it's hard to
I
even
tell
see
you,
your work.
you are worthwhile.
Yeah.
You don't have to have nobody to beat you every day and they talk to you like you the dad. You don't know dad. But how you want to tell them if you come out, for go do what? What job day? What part job day? Now everybody they cook dinner. What they want to do? And they tell you we had one situation. I tell you some things where I have to do. One young lady, me they work with we, and the daughter dead. I got credit the box for Mr. Cowie. I got with bare face and I said, Mr. Cowie, here what? I need you to give me my caffeine. I need you to do so for me. He watched me, but he was very kind enough. And we buried the legal and everything, and I wait till the money come. Well, I have to pray for the money, because then that me $3,000.
Oh, man.
Where party I come from? But you know the money come,
Blessed, you see?
and as I get it, blessings, so can't do nothing with God, without God.
Real, for sure.
And do you find that, like, or what's the, like, when you intervene and when you talk to these women and stuff, do you find that there is a change in the mindset and they do get empowered?
Well, you know the problem is that when you when for years you eat rice and beans, you can't change to soup immediately. So you have to give it a little bit at a time. So we got like self-esteem classes and stuff like that. So that are some of the things where we do. Like I tell you, we got one chapel now because some of the problem I can't handle. Sometimes all I could do that when they come and hug them, hold them, make them cry. Get one little thing and wipe their eye, give them one little glass of juice and sit down and listen. Because certain things, I just can't do nothing. I said, darling, we have to pray upon this. We have to pray upon this. Because you can't do a job without knowing and talking about God. Because it begins with Him and it ends with Him. Because He is the only sustenance we got. Because when all else fails, you have to go back to Him. If you can't find it, oh my God.
Yeah, God, the first thing you holler for.
That's the first thing you holler for. No care how you say you're the atheist, no care how you say you don't believe in a God.
You know, we have too much people, too many people in society highlighting the problems. Like, you have a lot of people, groups that come up, individual persons that all they focus on until they don't, this is going on, that is going on. And nobody's thinking of coming up with solutions to the problems.
You need solutions.
That's a big change. I mean, that's the difference that organizations like Plow and others are making, because when you look at the society right now and the people that are being paid to do certain things, there are some people that are paid to make the change, within society, different groups, right, within government or whatever. And there's no real measurement of the outputs or measurement of the impact that you're having on the situation, And my conversation this year, when we first came on, I think it was the Trimming Drive we were talking about at the time, I was focusing on how we can look at the data that we have and look at the situation and actually quantify the situation that we have, and then assign certain projects that would have an effect on the situation, and we can actually calculate what effect we're having, based on that. So right now I'm actually studying project management because of that, because I want to be able to have the skills that I need to be as effective as possible. And through organizations such as Plow, IA is going to come up big soon. We're going to make sure that we get there, and other organizations also, because we want to be initiators and be people that spark new things. Because we want like the Trimming Drive. Now we have like so many people doing Trimming Drive, which is amazing, So with this new initiative coming on board, where we have the Christmas party and want to have my brother's keeper and that type of thing. We want everybody to take it on and start doing it. We want to start a new wave within the society so that we can see things differently. And you're going to see new projects coming up soon where we're actually going to display to the community the change that is being done.
And so My Brother's Keeper is a mentorship program.
It is,
talk to me about where you are in terms of planning it, who you found.
I actually wrote the project already, and actually applied to BNE for funding so far. So they asked me to clarify some things, and it's hard to kind of quantify what we're going to need at this phase. So it's like to get the buy-in, and I would love to go in and see what they will go with, and then so I can readjust my proposal to fit whatever they can do. But we definitely need support for it, because I'm thinking of starting off with 300 kids between 3 different schools, right? And it's all the Southside schools. Muslim community, right on Fabers Road, right? The 3 schools on Fabers Road, Muslim community, St. John Vianney, Excelsior High School, right? And try to see how the teachers and the principal can identify the students that are at risk, the ones that probably not going to school, they're probably giving trouble in school, probably doing bad academically, whatever it is, Because I was one of those kids, so I know exactly how to identify that, right? and see how we can assign mentors to them. Now, the part for assigning mentors is just me reaching out to the people that I know are positive within the community, people that I interact with on a daily basis, and to see their level of availability, and then create a script for them. So the level of interaction is measured. There's a set rubric that they go through to deal with the kid, depending on the kid's situation and evaluation. And then at the end of that, have somewhere where they can take the kid on a trip or something, and then we have like a closing off. So there's like an evaluation done before the project, evaluation done at the end of the project, so we can see the effect we're having on the lives of these kids. And then use that as a pilot to see how we can sell that idea to the Ministry of Education so they can take it on and see how every school can have mentors, right, throughout the whole entire country. And these are the type
so
of
you're at project concept stage.
Right now we're actually doing the scoping because we're going to see if the scope really matches up, if it makes sense, so that's where we're at right now. I actually wrote the entire thing, but we're still trying to define the project really to see how it can work, and then see how we can assign some type of sponsorship to it to see how we can have it done. We're going to run it through Plow really and have them as the ones leading, because they are already set up as a full NGO. They can get the funding whatever if they need to, and for us it's just to inject our spirit into it and try to make it work.
I am so happy that we are now working together because the parties, I don't feel like I am qualified to work with boys, but they work with the boys and we work with the girls, and that's how it's going. You share the whole stuff. I'll hear, oh, Southside bad, Southside this, Southside everywhere, all the America Southside, So I can't say that we want to change the face of Southside because that the people have to bring about the change. But personally, I live that Southside. I grew up Lake Independence. I'm a Prisoner Creek, and I grew up there. And nobody can tell me I don't want Joel. Because when I feel like I had the whole treasury. That's how I feel. But this is where it begins. We have to empower the women because that the women, that the mothers, and they have.
Definitely.
If you 13, you know yourself. And I want to be straight. Them man, they chance out the road. They chance it.
We have perpetrators in this country, perpetrators who continue
too much. Then look here, sometimes you sit down for my place and me watch your then I say, you take your kakaya for the legal, turn your head so. They're serious, they start to watch their fan, a small man, they think wrong.
That's true.
And then one typical thing where I encounter. One lady bring one legal, she 26, the legal 13 got one baby. I said, Mister, how this happen? You may know that the grandpa, she 13 got one baby, the one with 26 got 4, everybody that went in 13, the one with 39 and the one with 52, that are the whole thing, great grandma, mama, and daughter. I asked her, I said, how could you, I was at a loss for words.
And that's how I'm feeling right now. The only thing I do want to say is that a lot of times people think these things only happen in other countries, but it happens right here. Right
and
here.
And I tell us Southside, the expand, Southside is expanding. Because I say we have the pantry program, and you have to be on the list for Get Pantry. And people, they come, people come in, because there's a need for the pantry. So this pantry, that's a very good initiative. You pay $12, and you get must about 50 or something more dollars groceries. And if we do a lead workshop and teach them how to use the pantry, you get your 5 pounds of rice, you get 3 pounds of beans, you put on the whole beans so you save gas, put some for fry, put some for make your rice and beans, you got so much rice, you make rice and beans, and you take the rest and make stew, and things like that to teach them. Cut up your leek carrots and this and that and that. Like when Christmas time, we give one chicken. Instead of like when you buy 2 pantry, you get one bag with chicken and one with vegetable. Can't everybody want that turkey?
Oh no.
So we and I want to tell you what, the chicken people are very good to it. So then they get one chicken. So now everybody they pile up for last month, then they call when that chicken there. But you can't give everybody.
That's one of the things I wanted to highlight moving forward, because after this, we develop social skills, we train our people, we equip our people, and we move towards industrial development. And there's not a lot of people in the Southside poor, and it's not a million people, you know what I mean? So if we could get our people to start have a different mindset and start to appreciate what's going on, feel good about themselves, trying to find industrial opportunities, we can create the projects from international funding to actually provide, the foundation and the platform that people need to be successful. And that's the mindset that we want to change within our entire community. Because people around me, I grew up with them, they're talented, they have people that can do stuff. but they just don't have the opportunity to do it. And why? Maybe they're limited in their mind. Maybe
they don't have the self-esteem
you
to
understand
believe
me?
they could.
Maybe they don't have the financial resources. So we have to find ways as people that found ourselves or something to change the way our people see themselves, because some people feel like they're not worth anything. I mean, and this is male and female. People they're wrong, and every day they wake up and they go and they either they roll up in weed or they go take a drink or whatever and just chill all day and just try to find something to happen, you know. And at the end of the day, what they make them do. I have a situation I want to highlight because there's a young man that I always try to push all young men to go to work, and we just got most of the guys that grew up around us to go get employment. There's one young man that has a record. Now, it's already rehabilitated because you're going through, already pay for that crime, you're going to jail, whatever, pay for that crime, you come out. Now, the young man forget the opportunity to work. You can't get a job because you have a record, so you're paying for that crime again outside it. So it's like there's no second chance, and that I'm getting emotional because it's happening to a lot of the people around me, and they're stuck in this system until we create something for them to do. They're not doing anything, and they're out there to rob and kill. Right now it's Christmas season, you know. Everybody have their children, everybody wanting gifts, you know. Everybody whatever. If you don't send them to a party, and a lot of pressure is coming down. So all the guys that take up the mantle and want to be the man of the house, they will sell weed or something where they don't need a record.
Go thief or something like that.
Do something where they need a police record for go do. And that's an issue. So if the police commissioner wants to make a change and want to provide employment and have the system change, then we need to find a second chance. The quicker we do it, the better for society. I mean, I don't care who do it, whoever is in charge, the quicker we create a second chance system within Belize City, especially this outside, that'll change a lot of things right now. Because a lot of people right now could get jobs. They qualify for the job, they have the education background they need, they have the skill set they need. The only thing limiting them right now is that they did something wrong in the past. Right? So that's a big issue right now with it.
And we can't forget how many young boys have minor weed charges from back before it was decriminalized.
You understand? So make you right off anything, you know, stop making some of your job. We need people for the work. We need them get off the street, put them to work.
One of the plans that we have for next year is that there's a vacant lot beside us, and we want to try and see if we could get that lot and funding to do our building. We want to do an after-school program for the children because a lot of the parents don't really know the new maths and the new this, because they don't like when we smile, you lick your chest, you count 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know if you've gone through that. Like if you have to do 5 and 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They don't do that no more. No, the calculator, all kind of thing.
Calculator,
me don't know nothing about that. Right in my head, I know my tables that 9 times 9 is 81. They don't know the tables. The hardest thing, and just put we stand up wrong, and you start off 2 1s, 2 2 2s, 4 right down.
You had to memorize your table.
Till you get that 12 times 12 is 144. They don't really know it. So we have to go back to certain things.
What I hear from both of you is a whole lot of passion in starting with just small initiatives and growing in building the people in the community.
That was actually just building off of that. That was going to be my, final question. Was that, you, both of you deal with so much, painful, difficult situations, in the work that you do. So just wanted to know, what is it that continues to give you motivation and gives you hope, for the future?
Boy, my hope that God. I believe in God. I deal with God. I just can't live my life without Him. Every day I have to pray. So certain situation will come. I go upstairs in at the chaplain at second darling, we hug up. They ball me whole day, because some of them, it's just awful. And we pray, and I say, we are left it here. I say, and you must pray too and read your Bible. Listen to me, no care what they say. The beginning and the end of God, because anything happen in your halafa. And the situations are getting worse and worse and worse, because you have mothers, they sexually abuse their daughter. I never hear about that in all my life till I turned big woman. I never hear that yet. Situation is horrible. Nobody knows when children, when they go to school at a time, they don't have no breakfast. They don't have no breakfast, they don't have the last money for put together. And some parents, they try. But I don't really get involved in the whole situation. But I personally believe all this thing where one man have 2, 3 family, that's one of the things where one of the biggest humbug that believes. You got one lady, you got 2 ladies. Some of the ladies, they got children for some married man and they hide the picnic. How you want hide one picnic? You make her in a weapon. So put her out there in the weapon. But all them type of thing, and some man they pray upon you. And then we need. And the younger one, they want dress up and everything where they know everything out there good. Then they want the latest clothes, the latest this, the latest that. You have to think in yourself and say, I am worth more than that.
Yeah.
I am worth more than a pair of shoes. I am worth more than a dress.
Or a phone. Yeah.
They want the latest
we always
phone.
hear the story, yeah. We always hear the story.
And prostitution has become such a thing now that, they're like nothing. They're like nothing. When I'm small, what? Then the thing there, you know, they're like one big issue. No, they're not really nothing. Anybody go make one date or whatever, or do whatever, and it's accepted, the community accepts it.
Yeah.
Because mothers take their children and put them out there.
That is true. Yeah. So there are a lot of issues to cover.
Yeah, there is,
and, you know, you're starting off with your Christmas party on the 21st. My last question is just, you know, what can people do to help? I hear all that you want to do. I hear all that you're already doing. The wider community is looking on and saying, you know, this is what we need more of. How can they help?
Well, first I want to start by calling out all the Farbers Road people.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, if you can't only call Farbers Road, you have to call everybody.
Right.
Penn Road, Farbers Road.
Yeah.
That's why be biased and call it a set where usually support.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
For help, because, you know, I haven't been able to get to everybody. I've been
Yeah.
super busy, right? But that's part of the motivation, right? Coming back to what you were saying to Ms. Lauren.
Yeah.
Just the dynamic change that we have seen within our small community itself, you know, and the way people look forward to giving back and reaching out and helping out, that motivates me. And the effect we're having on these kids, because like whenever they say, Mr. Brian or Mr. Edmund, you know, I have to launch up Brian because he's a big part of what I do also, you know, he's always supporting me. And the way these kids carry themselves and the change you see in some of the mindset alone, and you know, you encourage them to want to be somebody. I mean, that is big for me because I'm one of those kids, you know. If you say that the worst situations that have ever happened, I have been through, you know, when it comes to being a child. And I know what it is. I know how it feels to somebody reach out to you and getting a helper, somebody encouraging you to be positive, or somebody giving you something when you needed it at the most, you know what I mean? So being that for somebody, for me, is the biggest thing. And I don't know how long we'll live. I mean, our life expectancy in Belize is very short, especially for black men, right? So at the end of the day, I just want to make sure that my time on earth is worth something, and that the legacy can be left that can carry on in perpetuity. And that's exactly what I see. And I know that if other people get opportunities that I took advantage of, I believe that they can have a better outlook on life. They can see things differently, experience new things. I mean, I went all the way to China last year, you know what I mean? Who would have thought, you know what I mean? So it's just to say, I mean, these opportunities need to present themselves for these kids, and being a facilitator for that motivates me to want to continue. And I can't even stop, even if I want to, because the people meet me, when are we going to do the tournament?
They're just like me, like right now.
You're taking on the responsibility.
For last month, people they come for Christmas party ticket card, they know we got Christmas party. For last month, and they beg you if you don't get it too.
Yeah.
Like right now, we only detect ages 5 to 11 because we know I have no parents. And even Belize High School, Belize High School come in and help with all them girls from Belize High School come. First farm, second farm, they come and they pack all the bags. They pack all the goodie bags and stuff. But this year, we are so fortunate that when in Fabregas, they give away the 600 goodie bag.
Oh, wow.
People like Cisco, they support we like Thanksgiving Day. We got all the police from Southside. We carry one turkey dinner for them. And one leaky had said, thank you for protecting Southside. Now, tomorrow,
nice.
Friday, we declare dinner for the homeless. We do the homeless tomorrow, and we do the seniors in the community. We can't come out. So we do that tomorrow. So every year we do that, and then get one leaf bag with, you know, with soap and stuff like that. So all the people where they will help out, we grateful.
And so people know how to get in touch with you. You're on Facebook, Plow? All right, so people can contact Plow through Facebook.
Call 615-4838.
All right, and Inspirational Promotions as well. You guys are partnering with Plow for the Christmas party and for the launch of what will be a mentorship program. We hope people get in touch. We hope you keep on getting support from your community and beyond. Right? Excellent. Now, we are about to take a break, but before we do, I actually want to ask Lauren a favor, right? So, Lauren, I got a little segment set up over there, if you would join me.
Sure.
We want to find out what you've been up to since the last time we used to have you on Channel 5. So, take 5 minutes of your time, And we can head over there now.
For sure.
Let's go. Let's, yeah. He want you dance.
Yeah, he know man. Hold my phone to me.
All right. So we haven't done this segment in a while. But when we find out you to come, we say we had to try to come. So this is called Fun Facts from Familiar Faces. And you can't get more familiar than you, right?
Yeah.
So, 5 minutes going on the clock, and you will pick out questions, and I'll read it to you, and you answer. All right, so we'll start off. Would you rather communicate by only text message for the next 4 days, or eat nothing but mac and cheese for the next 3 weeks?
Well, I don't really want telephone person, to be honest. The phone, that's a big thing for me. I only know for call out. I don't know nothing about the picture taking, and to be honest, I don't really want to know.
All right.
Mac and cheese, I can't eat.
You can't eat because you have diabetes, right?
No, I don't have diabetes, but the carbohydrates want transfer to sugar.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not really diabetes, but it's not good for me.
Yeah.
Sugar not good for me. Put me through one rigorous ordeal, you know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's see.
Can't go down that bottom.
Yeah, I know, that one really weird.
Let's
Here
try
you
to
go.
decide this one.
Yeah.
All right. What is your idea of heaven?
Oh, I think there's the river of life. I think God just sit down on the throne that I want to sit down at his feet. And the light one just surround me. And I see myself in my beautiful white robe with my halo. And I have my wings so I could fly. And I want to sit with the cherubims and all the children and all the women. And we can just talk about who we experiences.
Oh, wow.
And how great it is to be in the land of honey.
That's beautiful.
All right, grab my next one. We still got time going. All right. So this one is, what do you want to do with your retirement?
With my retirement, I want to have I have 9 grandchildren, and I love them endlessly, ceaselessly. I just want to have my grandchildren. I can call them, hug them, we can talk. I will tell them stories about when I was small.
Yeah.
I will tell them about coming to Channel 5 today. I will tell them stories, Goldilocks and the Three
And what
Bears,
about your long
Cinderella.
history with Channel 5?
And I want to tell them about when I first got on Channel 5 with Mr. Stuart Crone and Ricky Tiki. And my boy, and just...
And sit on the veranda steps, Lauren in the morning,
just
Lauren
tell
in the
them
night?
Creole story, Brian Nancy's story. That are my thing. I just love stories. I like talk about things from the past to what it is today. I like stuff like that.
Let's go see. All right,
And on top of that, hug them up and kiss them up.
How old your oldest grandbaby?
20.
20.
And the
you
youngest
still hug
one,
up and kiss her?
Still hug. I call her Nunsi. I hug up and kiss her. Nuns come.
All right. Next question is, what's the strangest food you've ever eaten?
I was in Dubai this year. I got to Dubai for summer. I ride a camel too, you know.
Wow.
Yes, I ride the camel, but
I don't want to hear when you say when you ride this camel.
I got my eyes shut and I sit down because I 2 hours when you ride the camel. Guess what I made the thing? You know how the camel legs folded so? When the camel get up on the first part, it drops you. So you have to sit down good and hold on, and then when he get up, then he ride with you. One man made the front and I did the back. I just shut my eye till I done. That was something that I have always wanted to do, and I am grateful that I got the opportunity. I had to make up my mind because I said, I wonder if I should. My sister said, go Lar. And so I went and I did it.
And what was the strange food that you eat there?
One thing there, I remember what the thing there like with Kana. So I don't remember and one name where they have. I'm very funny with food. If you're not appealing to my eye, I can't eat it. You have to appeal to me, and I want to eat it. I want to try it.
So what are your favorite things to eat?
One
good rice and beans, stewed chicken, salad, one little pepper sauce.
Okay, you have to have that pepper sauce.
That coffee, darling. That's
the Belizean true and true.
I coffee true and true. I coffee to the bone.
All right, here we go. I want to skip this one because I know that you've gone to church recently. This day I said, but when you've gone to church. All right. What was your first memory of being really excited?
When I had to dress up to go to dinner with the Queen Elizabeth II when I was on Channel 5.
Ooh.
And I got the invitation, and I took the invitation, and Lauren, the morning I said, I have gotten this because of all you Belizeans, that I am invited to go to dinner with the Queen. I was one of the 52 people that was invited. And I said, I don't have no dress to wear. And I am telling you, at that time, Suzette was the director of the program. Dresses came from nowhere. People sent dresses from the States. I got dresses from the boutique. It was an exciting time because the boutique, they called to do my face, to do my hair. Belize people supported me in going to the dinner, with the Queen.
Oh my God.
And I remember, it's like a dream for me. When I remember I had on red velvet. Listen to me. You know, then time they don't really sell plus size dress. Then time there. So different boutiques and some couldn't fit anyway, whatever. So my sister sent me a burgundy velvet dress, a burgundy shoe. And because of the different sizes where ooh, I had to get one tight girdle. My friend said tight girdle. So my friend Janice, Yvonne, and my friend Natalie that is passed now. I had the haul up the front, one the haul, one the haul, one the haul. So when they haul, every time they haul, so I go put me 2 pints. Anyway, by the time I get my face makeup and thing, and I gone, I used to call Sue Masu. I think that Ricky, that you be out there with the camera. I think Ricky be out there by Government House. And I stepped right in, and Governor General came. And he came with the Queen, and I'm how much show for practice how for.
I was going to ask, did you learn to curtsy, right?
Right on the show.
Yes,
right
I remember that, yeah.
And I'm a learn for curtsy. And when he come in and he present a girl, I drop the best curtsy, you know.
Ooh, you still remember?
Put me back foot so.
Make we try, tell me.
When we just tying on one knee, no? You got a guy right down, girl. I felt like I was in another world.
Oh, wow.
When the Queen came, and I remember that, you know, Government House had a big door at the back. And when they opened the door, all the cameras was there. I just hear Lauren over there. And I say, if I die today, I am happy. That's a pretty impressive memory. And I think anybody could top that one. In my life, God has been so good to me. I can't explain. I know people don't believe in a God, but you have to believe in a something or somebody. But from I was a child, my mother taught me to pray, and that am I bringing up. So I grew up with God and all the things that He has done for me. Like in 2015, I get so ill, I got down to 150 pounds. I almost died. I see myself dead. I knew I was dying, and I remember at the hospital at Bellevue Hospital in New York, the Overlook. And my husband come and I say, honey, I'm tired, I can't do it anymore. And he's like, no, Larry, you have to try. And I saw myself dying. And he came and he was there and he said, my wife, cause he like, my wife, you can't dead. And I like, but why he want to tell me that? And he said, you can't dead. He said, you can't do that right now. He said, you have one lot for live for. And he gave me the encouragement along. And I never hear my husband pray. Well, me and he, we go to church together. We go with spiritual life and we read the Bible together and so. And I never heard him pray. And that day he prayed for me. And I said, you know what? I need faith. Just buckle up myself.
I'm still grateful to have you here today.
Man,
thank you so much for being here.
I'm happy. I live a good life. I love Belize. I love my people, and I'm.
We'll try find the curtsy clip one of these days and bring it back for us as well.
I'm so happy for that Channel 5, man. So happy. And I tell you, it's just a pleasure to see Ricky.
I know.
Her hair still there.
Yes.
I call her hair.
Yes.
And good old
Steven
Steven. I'm like, every morning 5 o'clock, Steven come pick me up.
Steven still there, Rick still there, George still there. Quite a few are still there, but we're glad to have you here. We're glad we get to find out about your big curtsy moment in front of the Queen. We got to wrap it up though. We'll take a break. When we come back, it'll be talking about the Wanaragua dance. So please stay tuned.
No tricks, no Today la cide, oh play jump to the play, give them a kiss for you a pleasure. Today la cide, oh play jump to the play, give them a kiss for you a pleasure. Today la cide.
And there you go, getting us ready for the season. That was Holy Ghost School. They're the defending champs.
Yes, we're the two-time Habinaha Wanarawa Junior champions, and this year we plan to take the
You're looking
sword.
for your three-peat.
Yes, ma'am, without a word of a doubt.
All right. And such an important part of what is Christmas in Belize. We need to hear and see. We need to hear the drumming and see the Jankona dances to make it really feel like Christmas.
Yes, and Christmas without Wanarawa is never, it's uncivilized, and it's never something that you can ever envisage. Once it's Christmas time, go to Dangriga, you'll certainly see Wanarawa at its best.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? It's part of what makes us uniquely Belize.
Certainly,
Yeah.
certainly.
Now, I wanna just go ahead and give the introductions for today. Sorry, we have the principal, Deshenka Lopez of Holy Ghost Primary School, and we have Major Gilbert Suazo, who is a member of the Habinaha Wanarawa Steering Committee.
Yes.
Good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
A pleasant good morning, and thanks very much for the opportunity to be able to certainly share what we intend to do. On a yearly basis, we have this Habinaha Wanarawa competition. There are two competitions, both a junior Habinaha Wanarawa competition and a senior competition. The junior competition, let me first say that the senior competition, this is the 10th year, the first decade that we are having this competition.
Yeah.
And the junior competition is 9 years because we formed the junior after seeing that there's a need to focus on the children, since we realized that in order for us to have this tradition continue in perpetuity, then we must have the children involved. And even with the junior competition, we do have children partaking with the seniors as well.
And it means the involvement of the children, and in the adult competition, we're looking at drummers who are children, singers who are children, and also the dancers.
Yes.
Talk to us about the preparation to be the back-to-back winners.
It takes a lot, especially at this age. Last year we had 9 dancers. We lost 6 of them to high school. 6 moved on to high school, and so we thought that it was not going to be possible this year because of the dancers. I have 9 dancers again. Only 2 of them are in the upper division. All the others are in the lower division. So it's much harder for us to put routines together, etc., etc. But that does not mean that we are not coming for the win this year. So I hope that the other camps are not taking us, you know, lightly based on the rumors that they've been hearing and stuff like that.
They were happy to see people graduate from Holy Ghost.
Yes,
more than the parents.
I'm certain. And then we have the Gayusas. It's difficult because then the children don't really speak Garifuna. So to get them to learn the songs, that takes, you know, a while. And 3 of my singers right now, they're moving on to high school in September, so back to the drawing board again. So these are some of the challenges. But when we had tryouts, half of the school tried out.
Whoa.
So we were like, yes, we're going to have a camp again this year.
And what about the drummers? Those are easier to find?
You know what? Drumming is innate. It's not something, it's just like jumping. We don't teach them to shake. It's natural in them. So it's something that they have. It's a talent that the children have naturally, and we just develop it. And it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, from the steering committee's standpoint, we realized that that is important, and hence the reason last year and this year we focus on training. Training in terms of how to make the respective ornaments, the masks, making of the sewing of the Yahweh, the shells, and the making of the crown. And we also have the teaching of the respective songs as well, because there are specific songs that must be sung along with the Wanarawa dance. So we now know, in fact we knew from then, that we have to continue training at every level. So we are encouraging even the camps within the respective communities that in the schools to ensure that they start at that early age, so that you don't have the challenge that is being experienced as what Ms. Lopez mentioned.
And you know, this is the 10th year of competition. How has the competition itself grown and changed over the years?
Well, we've seen where Habina Honago was established because of the fact that we are seeing where the dance and the tradition was deteriorating.
Yeah.
So with Habina Honago at the 10th year, we've seen now where positive impact within the community in general. So you're seeing where even you don't even have to ask who is prepared to dance, because you'll find people who are ready to dance. People are very ready to do the drumming. The challenge, as Mr. Shinka mentioned, is usually in aspects of the language, so we have to certainly put more emphasis and focus on the language, on the singing of these respective songs. So that is a focus that we need to do.
You know, I think in the annual conversations we have with members of the steering committee, what I hear and see from Principal Lopez and what I see with the kids is that your first goal, which was preserving the culture and also kind of bringing it back to the purest tradition, has taken root.
That is correct.
And I think that's the key thing. So while we may have been seeing Jankono dances, and for people who don't know, Habinaha is dance. And Wanaragwa
is the Garifuna farm of Jankono.
Jankono. Yes. So we call it Jankono, but it's Habinaha Wanaragwa.
Yes.
But yeah, so we see where the culture is taking root. How young is your littlest one?
Elijah is in standard 2.
Okay.
So he's about 9.
Yeah. And you've had younger than that competing before.
Yes, that's correct.
So you're really giving them a foundation in culture.
Well, what is also important to note that particular to the junior competition, 9 years ago was one of the first time that Hopkins participated in the competition, and we have not seen them since then. But this year, they're back, and they will be back in the competition.
They come for you guys.
Similarly, we have not seen Georgetown as well. So Georgetown also will be participating. So we are seeing the emergence of different teams from different Garifuna community, which is also important.
Yeah.
So the training in itself is working. So we just need to continue to, like water dripping on the rock, continue to do our work to ensure that the tradition is certainly preserved and retrieved.
Yeah.
But I was made to understand Hopkins will not be competing because they're scared of us. They're only going to come to exhibit. That's what Miss Babs told me, their principal. She said they're just coming as an exhibition group.
They're going to rally their troops and come after you.
Yes, Holy Ghost is the camp to beat. I talk so hard and so, you know.
Well, because you guys seem to be investing a lot. Principal Lopez, how do you, I mean, the school is in a Garifuna community culture capital. We all go there when we want to celebrate Garifuna culture. What has this, the integration of this competition done just within this? You said half the school turned out for tryouts.
They love Wanaragwa.
Yeah.
Not a lie. The thing about it is, for us, it's not, basically it's not about winning the championship, you know, that's the cherry on top of the cake. For us, we are already champions because we can say that we are actively participating in carrying on this, to me, one of the best or one of the richest parts of the Garifuna culture. Because I guarantee you that all my boys who are dancing here, they're going to be dancing during the host-to-host during the Christmas holidays.
Yeah.
So that for us, that is a win for us already, you know. But that does not mean we don't want to three-peat. You know? But as a school, that is our major goal. And the girls too, most of the time our boys and girls, when they move on to high school, they continue along that line at the high school with ecumenical battle of the drums and stuff like that. So that for us is the major win, getting them to embrace the culture. I wish they spoke Garifuna more, but we do as much as we can at school to try.
Let me also recognize that we have components of the senior champion here with us as well, the Lobafu Wanaragwa. So the part of the Gayusa team involve the Lobafo Garifuna, because we try to showcase both the junior component and the senior component, because we
and
have
you're
to
talking
have
about the singers.
that transfer. Yes,
Yes, I'm just saying.
Yes, certainly. Yeah.
And so the two, I don't want to say older, the two young ladies in blue are from the senior champions, and then the lovely little ladies in black, green, and pink are from Holy Ghost.
From Holy Ghost Primary School.
Good.
Yes.
So you hold the junior competition separately from the adult one.
That is correct.
And the junior one takes place this weekend.
This weekend, Sunday, at 3 o'clock, Ecumenical High School Auditorium.
Yeah.
And we also must state that the first prize winners certainly will be awarded the Baba John Mariano Trophy, which is a sword. They will also earn $1,500 in cash.
Whoa.
And then we have individual prizes for the best banquata, which is like the Abuti, the leader of the group.
Yeah.
We also have a prize for the best dancer and for the best drum corps and for the best Gayusa team as well.
Okay.
And the winners, first, second, and third prize will also be given individual medals as well. So there is enough there. While for us as the steering committee, the prizes is not what we are focusing on. We are focusing on the preservation of the culture. So that to us is very, very important. So it's just a means, the prizes are just a means to an end.
Yeah.
Because $1,500 is pittance to stage a dance troupe with 9
Based
dancers,
on the investment,
9 Gayusas and 3 drummers.
Yeah.
It's an expensive venture, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's not about
Can we have one of the dancers come over? Come over.
Darwin.
Yeah, just come to the front here. Because an integral part of it, and that you judge drumming, singing, language, but even the details of the costume. Can you just kind of quickly go through some of the things that we're looking at here for people who... look at that camera right there.
Yeah, in relation to the costume, what the judges will certainly look for is that they are properly attired. So part of the costume is being done long before the competition begins. And the judges will certainly look that everything is well done, that the crown is worn properly, the mask is worn properly, the muswe is done well, that is the scarf that they're using. And then in relation to the colors, you will see that when you wear white, then you have to have the pink and the green ribbons with the white. And you also have to ensure that none of the skin is also exposed. So that is the first part of the judging for the costume.
So you can't show any skin. Why is that?
Well, because Wanaragua is not a person by name as such. You should not know who that person is in any way or form. And once you wear the costume, then you remain the way how you are until you then become undressed. Because you don't want to be identified. It's part of camouflage.
Well, that's the history of the dance, right?
History of the dance. And then the costume is also being judged because during the dance, because the first part of the judging is the costume, then the dance. But the costume is also being judged because if it starts falling apart, then you start losing points as well.
No wardrobe malfunction allowed.
No
like the shells have to stay on?
Yes.
That's
everything.
one.
You have secrets and all sorts of things that we do to keep it up.
So
let me see. Test it out a second there. Let's see if any shells will fall.
Jump, Darwin.
And then they also judge the dancing, and you will note that the dancing also have 3 phases. There's an entrance. You'll see how they enter. They also pay respect to the audience, to the drummers, and then they dance, the paso, the main part of the dance, where they do different steps as well. And then the third part is the exit. So those are the areas, and dance is the one that takes the highest point throughout the competition. And then, as I said, the exit, then you also look at the interaction between the dancer and the audience as well. So how that is also being judged, and also creativity. That is also being judged as well. We've seen where the teams are choreographing the dance, but what is also important to note that the drum, this is the Wanaragua is a dance where the dancers lead the drummers.
I was going to say,
right?
yeah.
Lead the drummers, so it makes it even more challenging when the group, the pair.
So
or
the
group
drum
dance.
responds to the dancer, not the dancer responding to the
No,
drum.
not at all, not at all. So it makes it even more challenging in terms of competing.
So that means the drummer's job is very hard.
Yes,
very,
they
very
have
challenging,
to
very
remain
difficult.
focused
Yes,
on
they
the
have to focus,
dancers.
yes.
Okay.
So-
So, as I said, we're having the junior competition this weekend. The adult one will be when?
And the 26th, and
Okay.
that date remains consistent
On
now.
Boxing
From
Day.
last year, we established that the 26th will be the date going forward
Mm-hmm.
for the senior competition, and we've seen where that is working out reasonably well in terms of planning
Yeah.
and in terms of tourism as well.
Participation,
The
yeah.
participation and tourism,
Yeah.
because it's a set date, and then the community in general can benefit from
Yeah.
the tourism aspect which we are trying to promote.
Yeah.
Because we have to put an economic arm where we utilize culture for economic benefit.
Yeah.
Right? So you can certainly view the dance on the 26th on a set date, but at the same time, you also have the opportunity where the respective camp can be able to sell the ornaments, the mask, the crown,
Yeah.
the shells, and anything else that is associated with Wanaragua. So we encourage that so that then at least they'll be able to get back some level of revenue preparing for next year, but
Yeah.
at the same time to also ensure that we keep the different aspects of the culture well preserved.
Nice. All right. So the junior Habinaha Wanaragua competition takes place at Ecumenical this Sunday,
Sunday.
starting at,
3 o'clock.
and the tickets to enter.
The general admission is $7. The junior, the reserve is $10. The general admission is $7, and the children are, I believe, $5.
Well, thank you for coming in. Best of luck on that three-peat mission.
Yes,
And we'll
that's
see,
for sure.
We'll see how Hopkins responds to your
No
message
trick,
today.
no
But there is also Gulisti, who has been they have won four times in a row, and they'll be gunning for Holy Ghost. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, the competition
and Sekitat,
is
who came in
on.
second last year, are saying that they're going to take Holy Ghost down. So we'll see. So we invite everyone to come and see.
Are you ready? EMB 3P? Oh, that does sound so convincing. EMB 3P? Yes, Mom. All right. Let's see what kind of performances we can expect for this 3P. All right, we're going to have one final performance as we head out to our break. Have you ever tried to do it?
No.
Today, lassie day, you play drunk and play. Give them a kiss for you a pleasure. Ah, William Mo. Ah, William Mo, bless him, Massa, who live to see God bless you. Today, lassie day, you play drunk and play. Give them a kiss for you a pleasure. Ah, William Mo. Ah, William Mo, bless him, Massa, who live to see God bless you. Today, lassie day, you play drunk and play. Give them a kiss for you a pleasure. Ah, William Mo. Ah, William Mo, bless him, Massa, who live to see God bless you.
Bank's Christmas Flexi Loans are here. Let us help.
And we're back. I was this close to say, let's go do the junk on a dance.
Look, I'm sure that I would have been so bad that it would have been like disrespectful. So I don't even want to try.
But you already had an advantage because I would have had to do it in heels.
Ah, okay. Well,
so, you know.
No, I would have. You could just go barefoot. Oh, no skin, right?
it was so good to be able to have that as a part of the show. You know, that's just one of those uniquely Belizean things that we have happening around the season. I always look forward to seeing the dances moving around on Christmas Day or Boxing Day and sometimes New Year's Day. And having them play at your house. It's just the coolest thing.
I know, and it's so great that the young kids are getting involved and that they're so passionate about it. You know, hearing her say that the whole school or half the school wanted to try out is so so cool. So it's like it's awesome that the tradition is being upheld, and that, you know, it seems like it's going to be much longer and it's going to grow and expand, and really it's interesting to see. And of course, there's so much talent.
Yeah, and kudos to the school too, because it does show that they have taken on working with the kids. It's not just about putting a team together, they're working with them. They see the benefits of being able to preserve the culture and having them involved to this level. And winning, of course, always feels good. Yeah. Everybody loves to have some bragging rights there.
Yeah, that trophy, right?
All right, and speaking of passion, our first and second segment was full of it. The second one, if we're going to work that way, is talking to Lauren and Edmund, two different organizations that are working together in a Southside community to empower people, to offer some assistance, and really what I hear from them is a desire and a willingness to do what they can to try to change the situation of what's on the ground.
No, absolutely. So it's so encouraging to hear people who are like so passionate. you know, from both people. I mean, and you know, it's also important that they pointed out, you know, that these are communities that they're from, and you know, they grew up with him, and you know, even though wherever life has taken them, they always felt the need to give back, to do that work, get in on the ground with the community, and again, starting with the children, you know. So the Christmas party and the other initiatives that they're doing are really, really great, and I'm really glad that they came in and shared their perspective and shed a little light on the work they do. So we hope that, you know, viewers, if you watch that segment, you know, you are inspired. Hopefully, you go out to support, you know, contribute to any of the organizations, go donate, and you know, even get involved yourself, mentor somebody, and volunteer.
Absolutely. And we also want to say a big thank you to Ambassador Shabazz for stopping in today. I was really looking forward to her conversation. Of course, she's a great presence to be around, and I think that particularly the topic she's working on right now, work wellness, and
I mean, it's super important. I mean, like, I can think, and she herself said it, you know, it's something that so many of us working people do struggle with, and I like that she also pointed out wisdom too, because you need the knowledge to know how to accomplish wellness. Let's say.
And where to draw your lines. And I mean, the conversation went beyond that, and I think being Malcolm X's daughter, she's definitely had a unique upbringing, and it's just one of those things where you see in her a humility, but also that passion to kind of share and spread the message, and that's what I really loved about it. She's been working with Belize since being one of our ambassadors at large for a long time, and this latest initiative, I think, is one that can be useful not just to people from the United States, but useful to Belizeans here as well. So if you are interested in being able to be a part of one of these series, Wisdom, Wellness, and Work, she is planning one for early next year, so do look out for that.
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage you to be a part of that. Whether you you want to benefit from the program or you want to contribute some way, organizing, you know, the conversation we had showed that she's very intersectional with her approach. So, you know, it's a really worthwhile initiative, I find. So, I mean, all of the topics that we discussed this morning were. So, you know, today was a really empowering show, I find.
You know, it started a bit rough for me, but I think what I walked away with is just very simple. You know, we have a power within us, and we have to use it. And if it's the power to be able to kind of refocus your own self, to give the best of who you are, and also if you look at the second one, to be able to continue to share with others, contribute where you can. You don't have to constantly wait for others to step in. And also closing off with the Wanaragua, it's that idea of tradition and how important it is, and that we have to continue putting in the work today to maintain it into our future.
Absolutely.
So, beautiful show. We hope you enjoyed it. That is all the time we have, though. So if you'd like to contact us, send us an email at oye@channel5belize.com. Drop me a line at marlene_oye@channel5belize.com. Find us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ.
And on Instagram at OIE Belize.
And remember to tune in tomorrow morning at 6:30 when you open your eyes.
Start your morning right.
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind,
and your heart
open. We'll see you soon. Enjoy your day, Belize.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.